All right. Hello there. Welcome to another We've Been Different video. I got it right that time. Anyway, we're going to just jump straight into it. Rating shooting guards on a tier list. I already rated the point guards last week, so I just thought, why not do shooting guards? Because, well, that's what's next. Anyway, let's get right into it. So first we have Klay Thompson. I've actually talked about Klay Thompson before in some of my one of my videos, but moving forward here, I'm gonna leave him at B tier. And don't get it twisted, prime Klay Thompson would be way higher than that, probably high A, low S, one of those. But Klay Thompson, present Klay Thompson, laterally is just not as quick. Still a great shooter, but way more inconsistent. He can come out looking like Game 6 Klay, or he can come out, or is it Game 5 Klay? Is it Game 6 Klay? I think it's Game 6 Klay. Let me fact check this so I don't give you guys false information. I think it is Game 6 Klay. Game 6. Yeah, it's Game 6 Klay. They made a song about it. I mean, say less. So yeah, Bradley Beal, A tier. This guy is just a natural certified scorer. He can shoot it. He can just ISO it. He can, not like the greatest handles, but he's got really solid handles. And he just always finds a way to put the ball in the hoop. Defensively, not where you want him to be, but he's not like a liability as much as someone like LaMelo Ball is. But yeah, let's keep it going. This one is one of the hardest ones to do because he has been getting trashed down so hard this past season. But in all honesty, okay, someone who averages about 18 and 10, 16, 17 and 10. Let's see, James Harden. Oh shoot. Harden stats. Let's look at this real quick. Someone who averages 21, 10, and 7, obviously not efficient with three-point shooting. Averages steal a game. Someone who averages 21 and 10 is no lower than A. It's just not realistic. It's not fair to James Harden. We bash on him because he is not the scorer and the player he once was, but I've heard way too many people, especially people that I know, and it kind of pisses me off, that say this guy sucks. And it's like at what point are you just a hater? At what point are you just a certified hater? Like, seriously, let's call it what it is. You're a hater. Someone who averages 21 and 10 and 7 rebounds and then throwing a steal on that. Like, stop the cap, man. Like, yes, he is not 35 points per game, James Harden. He's not that anymore. It is what it is. Move forward. But the facilitator that he's become, especially that he still can score, get over yourself, get over whatever description you have of James Harden. He's not who he used to be. But he's still a double-double, 2.4 rebounds away from a triple-double. Come on, man. And he's not the defensive liability he used to be either. Like, come on. Stop the cap. Take off the hat. I heard I can't get over this because I heard way too many people say he sucks, and that's just dumb. Like, there's no discussion for it. It's dumb. Let me add on to that. If you say he sucks, you're not an avid basketball fan. I don't care what you say. Like, you do not watch basketball every game. You don't see the rest of the players in the league, because a lot of casual fans, they watch great players, right? Because of the big names. So a lot of casual fans will see Seth Curry. They'll see LeBron James. They'll see Kevin Durant. So when they see a good player, they have nothing else to compare it to because they don't know what average players look like. Like, they have no idea. And that's the thing that bothers me. It's like, we have people coming here and saying, you know, James Harden, oh my gosh, he is just trash. He's not good anymore. He can't score the ball at all. I'm like, 21 points, can't score the ball at all? Are you serious? Like, you really want to do this right now? Like, you're about to look real dumb in front of anyone who's actually watching the games. Just because you're a casual fan doesn't mean you can't have an opinion. But it doesn't mean that your opinion is just flat out wrong sometimes. And saying James Harden sucks is just wrong. And that's a fact. Numbers speak for themselves. Compared to the rest of the league, his numbers are way up here compared to your average player. Your average player does not average 21, 10, and 7.6. Does not. I took a long time with this one, but this one really irked me. So I just had to put whoever's watching on notice. Anyway, Terry Rozier, solid B tier, not a good defender, really good scorer. I mean, what more can you say? The guy can shoot the three super well. He can finish at the rim better than what you'd expect, to be honest. And he's got solid, slick handles. Josh Richardson, not what I thought he'd be. It's disappointing to see his development because in the Heat days, you thought you saw something, and then it's like, oh, no. Evan Fournier, C tier, solid role player. That's it. I don't want to get too much into these because I know that I'm going to have long ones like James Harden, so I don't want to take too much of your guys' time. Evan Fournier, solid role player. Hit a three, hit a jumper. Okay defense. Not great at all. Seth Curry. Yeah, I got it. There you go. Okay, so Seth Curry is one of the most inconsistent guys that's like can look really good at times, but then can just disappear. He's super inconsistent. Watching his game can be a blessing or a curse because when he is non-existent, he's just doing nothing out there. Like he's doing nothing. But when he's existent, he's got about 4 threes in a game. You know, being able to facilitate to an okay degree as opposed to other players who are just straight shooters. Because a lot of shooters do nothing but stand and shoot. Steph can create a little bit, nothing too crazy, but a little bit. So it's nice to see. Gary Trent, he's borderline. He's like creeping up. He's like knocking on the door, but I don't think he's there yet. Way too inconsistent for that. In fact, yeah, I would say he's definitely a B. I don't even think there's a discussion for him in A, especially when you have names like this up here. So we'll keep him there. Zach Levine, definitely an A. I mean, I know he had dealt with a couple of injuries this past season. I think he was more so just hurt than he was like injured. So, you know, a lot of players that are hurt just kind of play through it, but it just didn't seem right all the time. But Zach Levine, another offensive juggernaut. I think he averaged like 24 or 25 points per game, somewhere around that. Colin Sexton. I think he's kind of a question mark because it's like prior to Darius Garland's explosion, you know, he was kind of leading the way, obviously not very successfully, but he can really score and he can facilitate pretty well. But defensively, it's just it's hard to come by a really good defender and a really good offensive player. I don't know why he was in point guard and shooting guard. Killian Hayes, you're just going to stay where you are. Karis Levert, solid B tier. I think he's a solid player that doesn't get talked about enough because of the teams he's been on. We talk about Brooklyn when KD was hurt, had a really good season, then went to the Pacers, looked really good at times, and then is on the Cavs. And the Cavs, I felt like in a way misused him a little bit. I think he's a lot better with the ball in his hands. But it's like, why wouldn't the ball's hands be in Darius Garland? Like, why wouldn't the ball be in Darius Garland's hands? So it's just like one of the situations to where it's like, Karis Levert, I feel like is really good on a bad team because he can be so ball dominant and he can score at a high clip, but he does not facilitate at all compared to Darius Garland. And he can't score like Darius, so he's one of those guys that if he pulls up to an open gym, it's over. You're done. But at an NBA level, it's hard to do that night in and night out. So I'm going to leave him at B tier. Dante Divacenzo, C tier. Got traded to the Kings. Didn't do a whole lot over there. Decent. Okay, but that's kind of that. Bogdan Budonovich. I had to think about that name for a second. Definitely B tier. Solid. I would say he's better than Seth Curry for sure, actually. But is he in B? He's at the very bottom of B. I feel like he's just super consistent with next to Trey Young. He doesn't do too much. Obviously doesn't do like, when I say doesn't do too much, I mean like he doesn't try to take over when it's not, like he stays in his role perfectly. That's the word. That's the phrase I'm looking for. He knows how to stay in his lane. And when his name gets called on, he does what he can. Other than that, just a steady player. Victor Oladipo. Definitely C tier. Injuries have bitten this guy in the behind time and time again. He looks solid when healthy, but how often is he healthy? That's just what it comes down to. Jalen Suggs, not so hot rookie season. Or is it a... Was it a... Oh, shoot. I keep hitting caps lock. Jalen... Yeah, so, okay. I was just making sure. Yeah, not so hot rookie season. Didn't look bad, but it was like not what every Magic fan hoped for. Granted, the Magic were just super bad, period. So players like that need time to develop. Definitely don't want to put too much thought into it after the first season. Will Barton, definitely C tier. Definitely C tier. Like, I don't think he should be starting, though, if I'm being very blunt. I think his defense is pretty decent at times, but he's just very unspectacular, if that makes sense. Malik Beazley, solid scorer. Defense, not there. Shai, I've heard them both. But nevertheless, A tier, no doubt about it. This guy is... I understand he's on a bad team, and it's hard for me to formulate the words for him because he's a unique case to where you see a young talent like that, and you like to see him in at least winnable positions, but they don't even really get a chance all too often, so you can't see the most out of him. But he can score. He can pass. Defense is not great, but it's okay. Super athletic. Honestly, is it Shea or Shy? I want to say it's Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. It's either Shai or Shea. I don't even know. I'm not going to be a liar on this channel. I'd rather be as transparent as possible. I don't know which one it is. Could look it up, but I don't think you guys care too much about that. Anyway, CJ McCollum, super high B tier. I think that CJ is another player that was knocking on that A tier door. But as far as I see it, when you have a player like Damian Lillard and only get to the to the Western Conference Finals once, it's just typically when you have two A's, you can really hit that stride, especially over such a long tenure at hold on. Now I'm too curious. Sorry, I'm getting off track here. I gotta hear her pronounce this. Tenure. I hope you guys didn't hear that. That was really loud in my ears. Tenure. Anyway, CJ McCollum was there for a long time, and it just, when you have two players like that, you feel like you should have an opportunity to scratch a little more onto the surface. Never really got the chance to. Donovan Mitchell, as great as he is offensively, he has so many boneheaded shot-making decisions, and it's like you see it unfolding as you watch, and he tries to play hero ball too much sometimes, and it really did bite the Jazz in the behind last season. And I love watching Donovan Mitchell play because he's one of those players that's explosive and super quick. And he's a highlight reel. But he's trying to be that. And it's kind of showing when the ball is in his hands with 4 or 5 minutes to go and he's shooting a shot that he just does not need to shoot and is forced. And it's like, I don't know if you guys watch tennis, but there's these things called unforced errors. Basically, when a tennis player hits it and just hits it out of bounds or hits it below the net, and it was way unforced, like it was easy. And for Donovan Mitchell, I feel like it's an easy decision into finding the right shot. And it's like, yes, it's the fundamental decision, but he is just forcing it too much sometimes. PG, definitive, A tier. The guy can actually do both defense and offense. I haven't said that a lot within this list. Defense is hard to come by, especially in shooting guards, I feel like. But Paul George executes that very well. Devin Booker. Dare I say S? You know what? If Devin Booker is S tier, so is Paul George. Because when Paul George is healthy, it's hard to find a shooting guard in this league, clearly, that can defend and score at will. Paul George is one of those players that can do both. And just thinking about it, like, Paul George is definitely better than James Harden, at least current James Harden. And as far as Devin Booker is concerned, yes, he got embarrassed, but I just feel like you can't put him any lower than S right now because he's quite literally a top 2 shooting guard. Gotta have an S tier, right? Right? Maybe not. I don't know. I'd rather have at least a couple. And he is definitely on that higher end of the food chain, more at the top of the food chain when it comes to shooting guards. So yeah, Devin Booker and Paul George, you know what? They're gonna sit at S tier. Tyrese Halliburton. This is a guy who's got a lot of potential, actually. It's kind of sad to see that the Kings traded him and really said, we don't really care about who's committed to our franchise. We just want to win, even though we don't have the pieces to win yet. So yeah, they traded him for Sabonis, and it was one of those things to where it's like, you could see why they made the trade, but you're not winning now anyway with that squad. And Tyrese Halliburton has verbally committed to the franchise and to the fan base that he's going to turn the ship around. And y'all were just like, Kings really were just like, you ain't going to be here. You ain't going to be here. Like what Magic Johnson did. Obviously he said, I ain't going to be here, but yeah, they were really laughing that one off when he said that. So next, Tim Hardaway. So he didn't play much, if at all. I think he played a little bit early in the season. Had a broken foot. I think he played at least over a dozen games, right? Something like that. Definitely more than that, I think. Anyway, really solid starter. Can stroke the 3 ball at a solid clip. Offensively, he just does exactly what you want off of someone who's a shooting guard. That if you don't have a superstar or star shooting guard, he's exactly what you want. Someone who can just really get it done on the offensive end. That's what they do. They're called shooting guards for a reason. Jaylen Green. This guy's a rookie, and he showcased his talents very exceptionally well. It's one of those things to where it's like, it's his first year there, but you can see that he has the tools and has really what it takes to take his game to the next level. He is just one of those super flashy players, but his handles are super smooth. He's got the jelly and he's got the 3 ball. Really, this guy offensively is one of those do-it-alls. As long as he just remains down that consistent path of hard work, he can definitely elevate his game. And you could really see that in his rookie season, that he has what it takes. Desmond Baine. This guy's for sure B tier. Pretty solid defender. Not great by any means, but pretty solid. Offensively, he can really hit the three ball. He disappeared a little bit towards that Warrior series in the playoffs, but it was because of an injury. As soon as he got a little more healthy, he started playing a hell of a lot better. Desmond Baine's a really solid player. Keel Alexander Walker, don't care what anyone says. Nah, we ain't even going to get into that. Wayne Ellington, we don't even got to get into that either. Just I'm not going to waste your time. Not going to waste my time. Devin Basseau, player I feel like fundamentally sound, but that's because he's on the Spurs. So I feel like that's really easy to say about any player that plays on the Spurs. But he is, and I think he averaged like 12 points a game, something like that. Not a great 3-point shooter at all. But just not too bad and not too good. I think he's just like kind of a little less at the middle of the road, at least compared to some of these other players. And yeah, there you have it. Here's my list. I actually really like this list now that I'm looking at it, because I think these two are definitely cemented at the top. These 5 are definitely at A. And yeah, I really like this list. This is the second list I made in a row, and you might be thinking, well, of course you should like the list. You're the one making it. I understand that, but I feel like early on in my attempts at being an analyst in the NBA, there was a lot of lists that I made on my free time that I was unhappy with, just because I had too much uncertainty around certain players, and it wasn't about how they develop. It was about who they are now, and who they are now. It's like I didn't watch enough basketball. So now that I'm at the point where I'm watching every day when it airs, trying to get a good piece of really all the information that I can, I feel like I've been able to come up with the more certified list, if that makes sense. Anyway, thank you for watching. This is my list. I really like it. Yeah, this is all been different. On We've Been Different. And we out.